Then to Dow. We're live. Thank you so much, everybody, for swinging by for episode 5. 5, this many. I know where my camera is. Of A Tale of Two Lions. Listen, I'm okay. Apologies for starting late. We had some tech issues. We had some back end stuff. Shake it off. We're good. We're gravy. Everything's fine. And we are here to put on a fucking show. Okay? Of phenomenal proportions given all these people and the amazing things that they've been doing thus far. Before we do, let me do my usual shout outs, of course, to our two major sponsors. Thank you so much. Number one, Valorous. Number one, again, I know how numbers and fingers and all of these things work in relation to cameras. Our sponsor, number one, Valorous Games. The people who make the system we use, the Valor RP system. If you could do me a favor and hit an exclamation point Valor in chat, you'll get a link to their Twitter where you can keep abreast of things. You'll get a link to the ValoروusGames.com website where you could purchase the system if you're interested in seeing what you want to see. And you will get a link to the Kickstarter, which is now live and is over 50% already, if I'm correct. It's over 60%. It's over 66%. We're in the home stretch here, folks. So we want that to happen, obviously. And that Kickstarter is for a reprint of the book, fixes some errata, takes care of some things, and also updates some names and what have you. You want to get a hardcover, you want it to be fully updated, you want to go support over there. So that's number one. Number two, you can see the little blue box beneath me. That is the dice rolling tray from Adventuring Kit, our second sponsor. If you hit an exclamation point adventure in chat, you will see a link to Adventuring Kit's website. Adventuring Kit is a free-form, system-agnostic virtual tabletop. It's absolutely excellent. We use it and we love being sponsored by them because it's really, really freaking good. It works well. There's no lag. I'm serious. No lag, like it just works and it's very intuitive. I love it. I plan to use it moving forward, so definitely check it out. You can have up to 5 people in a single campaign at base, but if you'd like the premium membership with all the bells and whistles and no limits on campaigns, you can use code GAMEDAD in all caps to get 25% off on a monthly subscription. And I know normally I do the third sponsor thing, but what I had planned, the fundraising thingy is not actually started yet, and I don't want to double back on any of the ones we've already done and start throwing out the systems. So I'm just going to kick it over to Wally. And Wally, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Tell the people who you are.
What's up, y'all? It's me, Wally, your favorite non-binary slime best friend on the internet. You can find me at WALLE132, like the cute little Disney robot, where I'm talking about the stuff that I'm always in and the stuff that I do. Like on, this coming Friday, check me over out at Aces Represent because stuff is going to be happening over there. Because, hey, we had part 1 of the podcast episode was on. It's time for part 2. And that is what we're going to be covering because we have more things we want to talk about and we just couldn't just stick it in one episode. So I'm really excited for that. I could talk about the other thing, but I won't let Lexi talk about that when it gets to their turn to talk about it. So I'm going to let them talk about their own show. But I am going to pass it on to Lexi so they can talk about their own show anyway.
No, just kidding. My name is Lexi, otherwise known as Black Girl Mage. Today I'm going to be playing Fallon. She's a mechanist of some sort, but what was she doing last time? Working on machinery, all of that kind of fun stuff. Push-ups. That's what it is. I'll probably talk more about the tricks at the end, but yeah, that's where you at Black Girl Mage on Twitter, that's where you could find me. And I'm going to pass it over to DK. You're amazing. Why not?
Hi, that's me. Thank you. I'm DK. Today I'll be playing Salacia Farcyrus, the Dragonkin, and a little extra. And you can find me at Abadarlings on Twitter. Anything else, I will save for the end and throw it to Persephone.
Hi, y'all. I'm Persephone, aka Persephorath on Twitch and Twitter. And today I'll be playing Feldspar Lucio, who is much more prim than I am. Let's go with that. All right, I'm going to toss it over to Sin.
Hi, it's me, the person who just unmuted the microphone, Sin, who does the things, plays the games, and will be Zeros today. highlighted by all of this wonderful background stuff, which is apparently going to be the theme of the evening. I will be taking no further questions at this time.
There is a point to that, but I will also be taking no further questions at this time. So without further ado, as it is, we did start a few minutes behind. So I think we're going to hop right into the fun again. And by the fun, I mean 4 of our 5 intrepid adventurers decided to... How to put this? Go and F everything up. So they snuck into the manner of a theoretical problem, got caught in said manner by the theoretical problem, ended up in theoretical problems, where they had to face some of their deepest, most hidden inner fears, and managed to somehow overcome it all and basically just walk out scot-free. They've got in their possession an old tome on the nature of necromancy, which has been, of course, the calling card of the dark, and 2 different mechanical objects. They could tell they're mechanical, but they're obviously very complex. One vaguely rounded, and then the other sort of like also rounded, like 2 discs with a sort of a pylon set separating them underneath. And now that they're leaving the Holstead Manor, or in the process of leaving the Holstead Manor, our team decided to toast to their victory and to Feldspar's new position as the proper heir to House Alexandros. And we will pick up on our team as they are leaving the Holstead Manor.
So, Felds, is this like officially your house, or?
As I said before, it still belongs to Marigold, and it's in Marigold's name, which means that I do not own it.
Really? So
Yes.
that means you're not responsible for anything that breaks inside.
Presumably, unless someone informs someone else of the little escapades yesterday.
Right. Okay, just to let you know, what happened on the balcony was not my fault, and the statue that was there was broken when I got there.
We were apart for 5 minutes. How did you get
It's
up to
still
the balcony
night.
that fast?
What? First of all, is it that hard for me to get to a high place that fast? Second,
That you heard the wrong part of that sentence.
Virgil, we came, we dealt with my siblings,
Yep.
we came up the top,
Yep.
and then we left.
Yep.
When did you have time to break something?
So, remember when we went to have that toast and I had to go look for the bottle to have the toast? So,
All right.
yeah. So, I went to go look for the bottle, which I did. I may
found
have
it
taken a
in
little
the-
bit of a wrong turn when I was coming back to get the from the bottle, and I may have found my way up on the balcony, and I may have, accidentally punched the statue thinking it was someone trying to attack me out the corner of my vision.
Now, unless we get tattled on by my siblings, in which case Marigold won't be able to act anyway because she wants to see what I'm going to do with this scroll. I doubt it will become a problem.
Okay, cool, yeah, so then it's not a problem, right? Statue is not a problem.
Virgil,
Hmm?
maybe don't destroy things that don't belong to you.
Well,
Unless they're
maybe-
other people's faces and they're currently trying to stab us.
Virgil, level with me on this one here.
Right.
Are these jokes? Is this humor?
No, I did punch a statue.
You see Zero's just like raise an eyebrow.
I like to think there's now like a smash cut to Virgil, like what Virgil was doing, and you see him walk out onto the balcony. He's lost, and he like stands at the balcony for a moment. It's like, this is nice. He's like, cat-like reflexes, and he punches a statue that's right next to him, and it cuts back to him just like.
I'm going to be abundantly clear to the audience. He did outwardly say the words cat-like reflexes.
So I'm just saying, it happened. We'll just not have anyone talk about what I did to Marigold or anyone who needs to know about it.
I'll make sure to tell her the first moment that we see her.
I'm not sure you're going to get a moment after all the screaming she's going to do the next time I see her.
Well, I guess she ain't gonna know that. And he starts walking.
All of you should go find Fallon. I think that I need to have this copied and sent to Limbury. Forgive me.
Who would you get to copy things at this time of the day?
Do you know scholars? They don't sleep. Besides, someone will assist me. So I'll meet you back at the inn later. All right?
As you wish.
Josh, we don't really need to narrate that. Just like
Right, no. I'm not going to go through that whole thing. Party splits up. Feldspar goes off to the library. What I will say, for the purpose of now, the other 3 party members make it back to the hotel room where Fallon is, again, probably like doing the Rocky IV, like hanging from like a roof banister by her knees and just doing like crunches inverted in midair.
Yeah. Crunches, she's like on the up. She's
Right,
all the way up
just
and throwing her like what's it called? I keep forgetting it. Wrench, and
Her
then
wrench.
catching it, and that's her like
Of
go
course.
back down, and then
Right.
throw back up, throw it up in the air, catch it, go back down.
just absolute full daddy mode, as per usual.
As per
And
usual. with
that is the scene that the other 3 walk in on first.
What? And the wrench just drops to the ground. Just a very loud clattering. It probably breaks the floor.
I was actually about to point out, given how strong Fallon is, I was going to say it's a very Rock Lee taking off his weights. When the wrench falls from that height, it literally cracks into the wood in the ground, and you get an idea of just how heavy this thing is that she's lightly tossing in the air and catching.
It's true. Oh,
Right.
you made it.
We did. Did you run into... I would ask if you ran into any trouble, but clearly not. And I'm pretty sure trouble wouldn't want to run into you either.
I was going to say the same thing. And I'll get down from the literal roof. I'll
Well...
dust my hands off. How's Feldspar doing? How's everyone? I just assume.
Well, aside from that one statue at her new estate, I'm pretty sure she's doing just fine.
Is Feldspar the statue now? Is something... Did something change?
After a fashion. Fallon, you can now see that Salatia's eyes have turned yellow and vaguely reptilian, and her voice now has a strange kind of dual tonality to it. Nothing else about her has changed.
Noted. Duly noted. Of course my dog decides to yell now. I think she's going to... She's been taught not to like stare, not to, whatever, but she'll just give a brief nod and we'll come back to that later.
You'll also notice that Zeros's armor is still missing.
I look totally fine.
It's like pan left, pan right, right in the middle, and you're just there smiling.
I see that this might warrant some explanation. Actually, let me do one thing real quick. DM, would you say that the moon is out this evening?
I would say the moon is still out this evening.
Fantastic.
How
I'm just gonna
dare.
step in front of a window and like right into like moonlight, and when I do, my armor reappears.
Okay, so everyone else got upgrades except for me.
Well,
Well,
I-
hold on. I didn't get an upgrade. I mean, I'm just well. When you think about it, every single day I live my life is the grind. So
well, here's the thing. It's not that there were upgrades happening. What we learned this evening was that each of us has our own particular workings, and we're probably going to have a talk about that sooner than later. But we did bring something for you. And I pull out like a couple of like the items that we brought, that we like acquired at the lab.
I rush over and I grab them.
Like I kind of like
Yeah.
as Val's rushing over, I'm just like, wait, these, I don't know how sensitive they are. So allow me to at least place them on a table.
You're talking to an inventor about sensitivity of a machine, as if that's not my thing.
Yes, I am. That is correct. I would also like to gently place these on a table. And I just place them gently on a table.
Place them gently on a table. I want to figure out what is going on with these. If we have the time to do that.
No,
Love to figure
absolutely.
out what's going on.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw my like little, almost like an artificer's pack. I'm gonna throw it onto the table, unroll it, like all of
There.
my tools getting
I,
unpacked.
this is some kind of pylon suspended between two discs, and this isn't the strangest thing we ran into. There was also some manner of astrolabe. Oh, Virgil, do you still have the book?
pulls out the book from his pack and puts it onto the table.
They were combining some necromantic magics from this book to, I guess, as part of whatever they were doing with these machines. I'm not sure what. They also had an elemental in the fireplace, which, from the standpoint of magic alone, seems very wasteful, but
Interesting.
Fallon, give me, before you even start messing with stuff, based on what
Yeah.
he said, do me a favor, give me an intuition check.
Absolutely, we'll do. Come on, intuition. Okay. Oh, 9 plus 7, 16.
Nice. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to tell you is you instantly recognize the pieces before you are technology that would have been found either in Gaug Machine City or in the outlying area somewhere. Like, this is not, you can instantly tell by looking at it, the way certain gears are placed, things like that. This is not modern age technology. This is old shit. Much the same, the other clue you have is on hearing, elemental in the fireplace. You know that in some of the old houses in Gaug, you would find the same thing. Fireplaces that were actually mechanically built and can replicate etheric fire to light a room, warm a room, whatever, but don't run on traditional fuel sources. They run off of magical sources, and they're running off of their own perpetual energies, generally crystals and the like inside them. But yeah, you can immediately recognize with that roll, these are old pieces of equipment. Like I said, one of them, the way it can be seen is there is a disc and another disc, and between them, there's one central pylon, and then there's a bunch of smaller, very small, thin connections at angles, none of them straight, to where it almost looks like maybe it moves in different ways or what have you, though you'd have to play around and figure things out. The other is a rounded piece that sits flat with several dials all around it, and then like a series of interlocking discs forming the whole. Like they can be arranged, like the whole piece can move in different ways.
Okay. So with this information about this city and stuff, do I more so get the sense that, I mean, I guess I wasn't in the scene, so tell me if this question isn't applicable here, but if they went somewhere and they found this stuff and I know where it might have been from, do I get more so the sense that this stuff was stolen from there or this stuff was moved?
Okay. You obviously wouldn't be able to tell offhand. What I can tell you is one thing you know, because Fallon grew up in Gaug. That's where her family's from. They're a line of machinists. You have Gaug Machine City, which has pockets all around the city of old tech heaps and things like that. But then next to the city, there's a large, the best way I can describe it is like a large junkyard, just a landfill. It's built next to the city, almost was built around it. It is just mountains and mountains of various levels of technology, going back anywhere from decades to hundreds of years to older than people know how to actually properly transcribe. There's no markings to figure out. It's affectionately known as the pit. Anybody who lives there knows you can go out in the pit, you can hunt, find some machinery, things like that, see if there's anything you can make work. The nature of being a machinist and how good you are is in trying to revive this tech, but it's like reverse engineering a computer when you've never touched a computer before. That's what makes it difficult. It's all mechanical interwoven pieces where you just kind of have to use your knowledge of machinery as a whole and figure things out as you go. Though the better machinists who have been trained and whatnot, and to a degree Fallon, who's always been someone very capable at it, would have ideas of how to operate with certain ages of tech based on if you've interacted with them and kind of learned how it was the general and vogue way of making technology in the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I will turn to everyone and say, this stuff is super old. I don't... Where did you find this again?
Well, it was in the basement of the Holstead Manor.
I don't... Oh, go ahead.
Is this stuff that they shouldn't have, or
It's not stuff they shouldn't have, but it's old. This is like my specialty, really. I love this kind of stuff. It's archaic, really.
How rare would you say it is to have something like this?
I'm gonna ask the DM.
I'm gonna let you know. So it's
outside of Gaug
tech
City,
in general, even from this age, like finding a piece, not that rare. Finding a piece that looks like it still works and is usable, a lot rarer. A lot of stuff gets rusted. This stuff is not rusted over. This stuff is still in good shape. It honestly looks like it's maybe either been used or at the very least attempted to be used. You can see that like it looks you recognize the technology style, but it looks too new to be that on its face.
Yeah. And I'm correct in saying that this is archaic tech. Okay.
Yes.
I immediately, so you all see me immediately I picked these things up, and I'm going to put them down delicately to Zeros's chagrin, and then I'm going to go over to my pack and take out these like delicate gloves that I have that I use, and I will walk over to them and I'll just start, as I analyze it, I'm gonna just start speaking, not looking at anyone in particular, but relaying what I know. So, I mean, I'm from a place that, I mean, we have an overload of things like this. Archaic, old stuff, old tech. Tech itself, not that hard to come by. Tech like this is barely scarred. This is barely used. It doesn't really make sense. Like, in the military, all of our stuff is hand-me-downs. It's all been used. It's not fresh. It would be like finding an old military suit that was worn once for some old dead military that doesn't exist anymore. It's being old novelty in and of itself, but how lightly used this is, like, I can learn so much, and also, like, whoever figured out how to use this had to have been good at what they do.
Or motivated by hatred, to say the least. So, to sum
hatred.
things up, about 30 minutes from here or so, as you walk, is the manor. And we found at the manor, as old as it is, although it doesn't look like anyone has lived there properly from the upkeep, it seems at the very least that someone spent enough time there to work on whatever this is. Also, from what we ran into, the experiments were at their beginning, and, well, they did not understand what it was that they were trying to build. Funny enough, also that came up was the name of the person who gave you that coin when we fought the Bone Hydra.
What was the name?
Anatolus.
Do you think this was left? Or left because they didn't understand what was going on? Or left because they want me to figure it out? Because I will be figuring it out, and that would benefit them.
Figure it out by all means, but I don't think that was left for us. It was left for, or was, I suppose, maybe gifted to the people that we ran into. Now, whether or not they expected us to find them and by proxy finding this stuff, we have yet to know.
And these people you ran into.
That is a story for Feldspar to tell, should she feel so inclined when she returns.
Okay. The only question I ask, are these people you ran into going to have an issue with me claiming ownership over this stuff, or
I
this,
just pick
the
up
face?
something. I pick up something to drink and go, I feel that ownership would be the last of their problems.
Fair. Are we to meet Feldspar somewhere, or is she going to be joining us?
She said she'd come find us.
Am I there yet, Anor?
Yeah, around this time is when Feldspar shows up, joins with the
Kick
group.
open the door.
Jazz beat.
No, she very politely opens it and then shuts it behind her.
The guest of honor.
Feldspar, do I notice anything different about you?
She looks singed. Like, not badly singed because she didn't really get hit with fire, but like, there's a general smell of smoke and her skirts are a little ashy. But there's no outward appearance change except maybe simultaneously a little bit of guilt and some levity. Weirdly enough.
Okay.
It's a complicated mix.
Yeah. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Fallon. Did you hold down the fort okay?
Yes, I tried.
Did the others inform you of what happened?
Not everything, but they gave me and I do the Will Smith point thing to the technology. The most important
Did we
part.
find something out about that?
Essentially this stuff is old as hell, but it's old, but it works still, so it's rare. It's really rare. This is kind of it's exquisite to find technology that is lightly used.
It might be. It concerns me that it's still active and usable. We know that past civilizations were more advanced than us, but its adjacency to the book on necromancy was concerning. I think I'm going to have to read it to see what correlation the machines have to it and what information we can glean from it.
Well, I think between you reading that book, I am also going to be diving into this technology. I'm going to make sure I know how it works, why it still works. If I can gather anything about its previous user, I will let you know.
Well, we should work together. It's like there's some sort of coordination between the two.
Yeah. Hopefully, nothing bad happens to us with it. And whoever, maybe it's based on intent. You know, if it's a book on, you said necromancy?
Yes, I don't think it's going to be a problem unless I actually cast from it.
Okay. Well.
I have no intention of doing so.
Okay.
Also, somewhat more concerning, and that we might all want to be on the lookout for, is that we're not the only people that someone is tossing necromantic trinkets to.
No. He, presumably, since he's the one who gave us the information here, he also is the one who gave my siblings this information and ability.
Probably the same person that gave that asshole Kafgarian that blade, whatever he used.
Mm-hmm.
This Anatolis?
Yes.
Yep.
Also, Anor, do I think that my siblings are the one who sealed that book on their family history?
Maybe. I will say this, that's going to be kind of just a best guess thing, but you would guess, like, if they're going through all this, it's because they're making some type of move to be subtle. It's going to be either them or Marigold, unless there's a specific random person who wants to erase them or whatever. Like, it only makes sense for one of those three to be trying to darken up the tracks, so to speak.
It also makes no sense. We don't have a reason why that information was hidden. We don't have a reason why Marigold's original family line, would be a cause for concern. Yes, we know that they were hiding at the mansion, but the mansion's in their name. I don't know if we yet know what their family history has to do with this. Because presumably it's something. Like, is this an ability that is passed down through their family? Does that weird man have little to do with it? Are they just connected to the same group, this dark thing?
I mean,
And presumably if they are, that wouldn't be public knowledge. They wouldn't need to hide the name.
could be, I don't know if this exists. I'm pretty new to this, but like, is there any possibility of like debts? Like this family needing to pay off some sort of thing by having this connection to their name?
Marigold's name would be inside the Alexandra's family history, presumably. And if there were such debts, she probably would have sold the mansion. So it has to be something that isn't a typical debt, if so.
Is there anyone that Marigold or your siblings would go so far as to try and bring back?
From the dead? Maybe the father, but I don't know. our father, I should say. I know they carry bitterness towards me because of the role my mother had in his demise, most likely. But I don't know if they had any love for him. I don't know if Marigold did either, outside what could be gained. But I don't know for sure.
What if it isn't out of love they want to bring someone back, but out of a necessity? I mean, bring back someone who could lay claim to something from the family name that you guys can't. Or at least they have some kind of information that you guys don't have.
If it's that way, the Alexandros family resources are still in a little bit of flux because I have a claim to it. But it presumably was going to go to Sapphire because she is the heir. I suppose it's me now. But if it's the other family, I don't see why Marigold couldn't lay claim to it. And in fact, if she has a house, she has.
Is there any possibility of an illegitimate claim from any of them?
If an illegitimate claim for, what's the name of this family again, Honor?
Holston.
For an illegitimate person to get the Holstead family. Presumably there are other members descended from lines that married off and joined others. But I don't see why they would... They pursued necromancy to try and get back at me and my mother. It's the other things that I don't understand. There must be something else to do with the family line.
There has to be something we're missing here, but...
Can I roll in, I would like to roll an intuition while using this book, and I want to see basically if there are, because in these books where people are studying things, on occasion they have some reference for books, but not enough not to make a marking or marginal note. I would like to check the book for marginal notes.
Go ahead and hit me with intuition.
I also wanted to ask, our skills, are they only used in combat?
No. In other words, so let me just, are you going to try and start messing with these things?
Well, that's something different. I do want to try to take the time to do that in parallel with
favorable
what
insight
Feldspar is doing, but favorable insight lets me roll intuition or resolve to learn what kind of actions will help in the situation.
No, it's you're absolutely able to use that outside of combat. You were supposed to pick a specialty for it. I'm going to guess you want it to be anything to do with machines. So yeah in this case, basically, you can absolutely you're gonna roll to take these things on, but you're gonna do it from a much better position because of that.
Okay.
All right.
So would I just go ahead and roll?
Go ahead. I'm gonna resolve the Zeros thing, then I'll jump back over here. Okay. So Zeros, you got from the note here, you got a 15. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So you start flipping through the book, I'm assuming alongside Feldspar, both of you looking together. And as you're flipping and you get partway in, you start seeing there's very specifically double marks on certain pages. And again, the book in general, again, is written very old, not quite old evolution that you wouldn't know, but very, very basic language, like the formation of evolution. So it more so you can draw out emotions and the gist of what something is trying to say rather than accurate sentencing. But you notice as you keep going through that it's any type of marking very specifically surrounds the words words that have to do with imbuing and words that have to do with the placement of magic. very clearly whoever was going through this book was specifically trying to figure out not necessarily how to cast certain types of spells, but how to place that magic in something else. How they would do it, what they would do it on, what kind of spells, that you wouldn't be able to gather. But you know this is about actual imprinting of magic.
Are you looking at the necromancy tech? Sorry.
I'm just actually.
Yes, this is the book alongside you, Feldspar.
Honor, can I read that? Like, can I read the language?
Yeah, both of you can, and like I said, and Sephi, you have been trained enough. Again, I'm assuming the two of you are working in tandem alongside this, so this is a situation where you'll also notice that, Sephi, that specifically, all the markings have to do with thoughts on imbuing, thoughts on imparting, thoughts on placing.
I would like to try to actually read just the text and what it says.
Absolutely. Give me a roll. Zeros, what were you saying?
Oh,
were you going to say something, or was I just...
No,
Imagine.
I was actually just going to say, hey, Feldspar, would you mind looking at this?
Perfect. So that works great. An intuition roll, to be specific. I'm guessing you knew, but...
Did not roll well. That's 9.
Okay. Thankfully, the work of catching these sentences... Like, you already understand the gist of it. The work of catching these doublings and things like that was already done. So I just needed to know you could read, like, very basic language, so you're fine. Essentially, you'll notice a couple passages that were doubled. And the passages, while very sharply worded, or very bluntly, forcibly worded, would just say things along like, imbue dark magic in object, put piece of soul in thing. Like, vaguely. Again, it's old words, but that would be kind of how it would transliterate now.
So it's the spellbook equivalent of a cookbook.
Yes. Actually, that's a very good way to view it. It's steps on how to get to a place.
So it's incredibly dangerous. Is it?
Yes and no. Okay, obviously, the techniques themselves could be dangerous, but there's no chance in reading it or poring over it. These are all active steps. Okay, just want to make sure.
But they're telling you literally how to do necromancy.
Yes. Very, very basic stuff, except for, again, the stuff to do with imbuing. You know what I'm going to say here? Both of you give me one more intuition check on something very specific.
Okay. Much better. That is 13.
Zeros?
Hold on for a moment. Actually,
Oh wait, since we're doing book stuff, I actually have something for this. Hold on one second.
Favorable insight?
Challenge technique for research.
Yep. Okay,
And favorable
so
insight. I have both. I have both.
so that is a max intuition roll. So that's a second.
Perfect. So you're both going to pick up, again, because you know what's being commented on. One more thing you both realize in reading this book is old, and so it's doing some very basic wording, and some of the necromantic techniques it refers to, very basic stuff. Summoning dark energy, summoning simple skeletons. Like, it's not teaching you advanced concepts, but the imbuing is. Which goes to speak towards the age of where it's gone. We're talking about lost arts, because it's not just, it's talking about imparting bits of souls into things.
So it goes a bit beyond what we would normally consider imbuing, like with an element or something.
Modern day imbuing would be like putting fire in a sword, and that's just etheric energy. But trying to imbue a soul or a spirit is a whole other ballgame. And while it's very, again, poorly worded, this thing is wording it like it's just a natural to do. Like, of course. Like, there's no reverence for it in the writing. You both notice that.
Are there any diagrams? Do
There
any of
are
them
a
resemble
couple.
the machinery here?
No. There are basic basic drawings that show like forms, positions, the way you might draw spell circles and things like that for certain things you're doing, but nothing showcases machinery or anything like that. At most, you'll see a vague gem or something like that as far as non-human symbols in there. Maybe a staff.
Does any of this make sense with that key we got earlier?
Again, you know the processes of imbuing like simple aetheric magic, so that wouldn't directly apply. As for how that key, the key would not necessarily relate to the book.
Well, I mean, is it an imbued object with a soul?
No.
Or part of something?
No. I can tell you when you guys were feeling the energies from the key before, specifically when Salacia was feeling the energy for the key before, and because of the fact that you told everyone about it, I can tell you now, like, what you would know from it, and if you had felt it and tried to, because you've had it so long, I'll just say at some point you probably tried feeling that energy yourself. It's just simple aetheric energy.
Okay, so it's
you
not necromantic.
felt necromantic energy, you can tell the difference.
Okay.
Like, you would have picked up on that, especially after the adventures you've been through. So let me shift on over for a little bit to Fallon. Did you ever roll for intuition for getting in on this one?
Yes, I did. I think I got a 7 plus a 7. 14.
14. Okay. So here's where things get fun. Which one are you looking at first?
Oh gosh. I think I'm a little confused about the two
The
discs.
two discs
and
one?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. So I feel like I'll move towards the astrolabe first, or the thing that's astrolabe-esque.
Right. So as you look at it, you see it's got a long handle, like I said, and then it's a series of interlocking rounds, I'll say, where you can move them in place with gears set around them. And you start taking delicately with your glove, your machinery gloves, shall we say. You start moving things around. And as you do, you notice that there's very small engravings all along it. Any individual wheel themselves does not actually make sense. But as you start lining up, you have to fiddle. You keep looking for points where the lines converge across discs, but sometimes where you're looking, you realize you look around, it's not adding up, so you keep going. But as you go, you start clicking them. And as you get the first ones just right, you're moving your fingers slowly and you feel the slightest click.
Yeah.
And so, using that, you start moving. You get to the next disc, it's not working, but you start maneuvering the actual gears on it and realizing it's causing slight raises and lowers on very, very specific parts of the rounds. And you move it along, and then again, click. Keep going around, click, click. And as you get closer and closer to the center, it gets easier and easier. There's less space you have to worry about getting perfectly right. And finally, as you get to the center of it, and you turn it, you click it in motion, and at first nothing happens. And then you got a 14, and you've got favorable insight. So thank God for this. You know from your time that on some of this old technology, it would have, in addition to gear work, it would have very, very rudimentary hydraulics in it, to where there's going to be press activations and the like. And you push on the center of it. And as you do, the rings begin flipping inward until it almost looks like they actually go vertical around each other, forming weird concentric circles, almost like a solar system of sorts. You pull your hands back reflexively, knowing how a lot of this old technology works, and now all of you see a light erupt out of the center of it into the middle of the room in a huge circle. And you see all these bright colors throughout it, all these lines and everything. And as you all pay attention, you realize you're staring at a map of Ivalis.
As is or in the past?
I'm going to say in the past, but the landmass is the same. You may not necessarily, the lines between places may not perfectly align with where they are now, but overall the landmass is what you know it to be. And there's random dot flare-ups all around, but there's no real pattern to any of it. It looks like it might just be just acknowledging the existence of places. And as you look down at the device, you see the centerpiece turned, and it's got a hole in it, a small depressed round hole inside of it. Not a hole all the way through. Again, like a small a depression that's round.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have anything for this?
About what
Is this-
size?
Yeah,
about
is
what
it
size
wide?
Would that? Oh, actually, I'm just gonna have a look at it. What size is the hole that we have down there?
Vaguely
Is
the
it
size of a coin.
coin-sized? Yep,
Ah,
coin size.
boy.
There
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
I asked that, and then I turn and I look, and the light is shining in my face. I will reach into my pocket, grab the coin, and slowly set it down into the thing.
As you do, you see, as the coin gets close, there's a bit of an... You don't notice any magnetic set in, but it's almost like magnetic. The coin actually pulls towards the machine. And as you get close, it's vibrating a little bit in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And right when you go to set it down, you see it catches, floats a little bit, spins, then dead stops, and slots into the hole. As it does this, you see another shot of light go out, and specifically in the area of the Ivalis map located between Mulond, between what you would know today as the holy city of Mulond and the machine city of Gaug, that particular area lights up, and there's a flick of light blinking in the center of it, sending out shockwaves. Do me a favor, give me an intuition roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, intuition. It's a 3 plus 7 is 10.
Okay. That's fine enough. You've grown up near Gaug. You know that just looking at where this is on a map, this is pointing specifically to the pit.
Think we found our next destination?
Certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
So that guy was calling us out then.
I don't think there was any doubt of that. It's just I don't understand certain elements of my family's involvement.
But how could he have known that we'd come across the machine that the coin fits into?
He knew it would be here and that we'd be looking into the family,
He sent us there.
basically. Yeah.
So either he wants us to find something in the pit, or...
The confusing thing is, he's obviously a necromancer, and my siblings were too. But why would he send us here to dig into those findings? Presumably they'd be working together, are they not?
Maybe not.
If I were a person for the occasional gamble, I would venture they don't just want us to go straight to the city. There are other things that they possibly wish to leave, let's say, disrupted or upended somehow in the wake of all of this?
I also
The people
think
who seem to know the most about this situation have employed a lot of very indirect means to make people aware of things.
Where's Wiseman?
That's
We
a good
know.
question. I'll go look for him. And he gets up and starts walking towards the door.
Okay. This isn't the anime moment where he happens to be outside the door. Like when Virgil opens the door, there's no one there, to be clear.
Damn. She wouldn't have said that.
Right.
Damn.
Look, I'll go look for this Wiseman guy. Is there any questions you want me to ask him?
Just bring him here.
All right. I'll go hunt him down. I'll bring him back here.
If you're not back after 2 hours, I'm coming after you, and I'm starting with the taverns.
Fair. And he heads on out.
Okay. So Virgil closes the door, begins heading out in the town and looking. Before we cut over to that, Fallon, do you want to work any further on this machine, or do you want to jump to the next machine? You're muted.
You're muted.
Do I feel like there are more revelations to be had with this machine, or do I feel like
Old Tech, I'll tell you
starting
right
a
now.
new job? Or do I start a new job, or do I keep with the old one?
Right.
The age-old question.
I'll tell you this now. Again, you have favorable insight. You know about tech. Old tech can be remarkably specific, can be absolutely general purpose, and have multiple things. So it's just a thing where you wouldn't know if there's more to it. You, having messed with it as much as you have now, you don't believe it's especially fragile. Like, don't go here and start smashing it with your wrench, but you don't feel like if you touch it, it will break. But you wouldn't really know if there's anything left to discover unless you messed with it some more.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that she'll feel satisfied with this. Like, there's a part of her that it's like, I don't know. I think that there's a part of her that's very satisfied with the idea of like just hot wiring the car, getting it going, and like
Right.
just get in the car and go.
We'll figure
so
out.
I think that
We'll figure out the stereo later.
Exactly. So she's
Got
just riding that kind of high, and she's gonna move over to the 2 discs with the other things and just spend some
Okay.
time with that as well to see if she can crack that.
So, do me a favor and once again give me an intuition roll.
Okay.
But this time, I also want you to chase that with a resolve roll. Tell me each
Amazing. So intuition, 2. So 9. And then resolve is gonna be 8 plus 6, 14.
That's what I like to hear.
Heck
So
yeah.
this is a situation where your brain was a little still distracted by everything you've been working on and you're multitasking, but your instincts kick in. You're a machinist. Messing with this stuff is what you do. And so as you start grabbing this and turning, you realize the discs do turn separate from one another. This one doesn't seem to have the same sort of kind of multiple concentric circle puzzle. But you do see that you can start fiddling with the interior, the crooked pylons, essentially, the smaller,
Yeah.
thinner ones, mostly in that you can turn the bases. And the way it's like there's a disc within a disc on each side. It's very, very like 4th dimensional Rubik's Cube-esque puzzle to where you've got so many different pieces moving that it's hard to get a direct read on any of it. But as you keep messing with it, you just trying different combinations, And you're just so used to messing with this stuff over and throughout your life that you just keep trying, essentially using like a system of checks to be like, all right, if I set this one here and then I set these, okay, that doesn't seem to do it. If I turn this and then keep this one here, turn these this way, and you try several different permutations. And none of it seems to do anything other than look like a kid playing with a Fisher-Price toy with all the little doodads, like the little going up and down like this thing and all that. Until eventually, finally, as you do it one more time, it feels like something, again, well, doesn't so much click as pops.
Yeah.
And at first you don't really notice it, but as you go to turn each of the discs again, you realize there's a little wobble. And as you do, you put your hand to the side and you pry, and you realize it opens. And each of the various pieces separate. And this seems to have been some sort of a containment device of some sort. And as you open it, inside is nothing. There's a depression. Vaguely, I guess you could maybe say it's a gem shape. There's angulation to it, but it doesn't form like any one. It's not the shape of a diamond. It's not the shape of a ruby or something. It's just the only thing you could assume because of the nature of angles is that it has to have been either a cut piece and machined piece of metal to certain specifications, or it had to be a cut gem to certain specifications.
Yeah.
That's supposed to fit inside this, but it's empty at the moment.
Okay. Huh. And is there any residue in the thing to tell me there was one before, like there was something in here, or there hasn't been anything in here yet? This is the first time it's been opened, anything like that?
Give me an aura roll.
Nice. I like rolling dice. Let's do it.
I'm giving you the chance.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, it was on a 2. It went to an 8. So that's good. Oh, it went. Wait, was that a 9? That was a 9. 9 plus 3 is 12.
Okay. So, you start going outside of your wheelhouse a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You've been hanging around a lot of mages. You've picked up over time the ability to feel something. Maybe not necessarily something you work with. You don't get into all that hocus pocus hokey stuff.
Yeah.
You use science. You use technology. You know A plus B equals C. But you start to be able to feel stuff. Mm-hmm. And you can feel that on the outside of this, there's like conflicting energies. Part of it feels like it's used for masking. Part of it feels like it's used for expanding. On the inside in the depression, you can feel there is some punch. Whatever was in, there was probably something in here. You have to assume there was something in here at some point. Whatever was in here was no joke.
Yeah.
It's leaving magical residue out the wazoo.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
While we're at it, the rest of you three, give me an aura roll as well.
3 or 4?
Well, Virgil went to go.
Right, that's right, you're right.
Yeah, Virgil's having his own adventures that we're going to get into.
Virgil's big walk.
The Adventures of Virgil Wormtooth.
It's like
Yeah.
Virgil. It's like Virgil Quest
My
with
last
Birdie
one.
Quest. but it's
Virgil
Virgil instead.
Quest.
Virgil Quest.
Which one did you say?
Aura.
Aura.
That's a higher. I got a 10, so I got the max. So let's see what that was my added score. 18.
Zeros.
Intuition, is that what you're
No,
looking for?
aura.
Aura.
I said all y'all.
Aura. Oof, aura is not going to be a good thing today. That is an 11.
Okay, Sally.
14.
Okay. You don't need to roll high to feel this. Y'all, all the rest of you work with magic in some way, shape, or form regularly. You immediately felt like just a ping when she opened that box. It was very clearly masked by whatever was on the outside, but you can tell, like, there's whatever was in that box was not your run-of-the-mill shit.
So it's giving off residual energy even though it's no longer in the box.
I think that this feeling of magic is unnatural to me, so it probably like shakes me a little bit, chills up my spine kind of, and the stool that I'm sitting at to like work on it and stuff, you all hear me just like get up really fast and back up.
Feldspa's going to go to it.
Galatia will follow, and I'm gonna turn my spirit sight on.
Something's going
Same.
on here. I think the outside, I can't tell if they were trying, it's like they were trying to like cover it up, but also they were making it bigger, and whatever was inside there, I don't know.
So I would like to activate, alongside all of them, my favorable insight into mystic arts.
So, Feldspar, give me an intuition roll. But I'm going to address this before I get that. Salacia and Zeros, you both activate Spirit Sight. And both of you see there is literally a layer on this, like, depression on either side of this container now opened. Like, it's the same thing on either side. There is literally like a layer of magic on there, like it was spread with a knife.
That's oh, sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
It is clear. Now, as to the type of energy, it's not necromantic, despite what everything up to this point would have told you to expect.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful. It's also wildly archaic. This is old, ancient magic. It is the basic type of magic that people don't practice. This stuff predates. It's like the origins of magical energy. You
So
can't
like primal energy?
you can't trace it. You can't put. It's that. Now, what did you say you rolled again, Feldspar?
13.
You've been to the academy. You've been taught all types of things. You've also been raised in Gabadiosian culture, but you've been to the academy. You've seen all types of things in your time there. And one thing randomly pops into mind for you. Just an old diagram. You remember seeing it. It was a page that, it was just a theoretical, because it's one of those things where, come on, Glabadosian religion, come on, like, they're precepts. We're scholars. We believe it. We do what we got to, but a lot of it is supposed to be just stories with morals.
Parable.
But you remember a page that shows 12 stones believed to be the holy zodiac stones that were held by the Zodiac Braves so many years ago, who fought alongside Saint Ajora Glabados to save the world. And you remember in that diagram, one of those stones looked an awful lot like the shape in front of you, almost looking a bit like a fang, with a curved bottom, round a top, a fang, or like a curved heart. But you would associate it with a fang because you remember it enough to remember it was the Stone of Leo.
I take a step back from the box and like hold out a hand, like, and just sort of soccer mom Zeros and Salacia away. If what I think is supposed to be in there was ever in there, holy shit.
I beg your pardon?
What's going on? I think Fallon will instantly start to reach towards it to like even just touch it, open it more.
Don't touch it!
Whoa. What?
Fallon, that thing, it's a containment sphere, I think. It's not just radiating old magic. There's a layer of magic just shed or left behind over time from whatever this thing is.
And I was just touching it?
It has its own energy signature, even though it's nowhere in sight. I think... If this is what I think it is, it's ancient magic. Incredibly powerful and mythical.
And I'm assuming that the thing that we did probably just alerted whoever might be looking for it to its presence.
Not necessarily. The stone isn't in there. However, would someone sensitive to magic have felt that? Absolutely. That could give us away. But the stone isn't here.
Can we close the box?
They might think it's here because we opened it, because if they can feel this energy signature, but the stone isn't here.
I think just in case, we wait for Virgil to come back, and then we find somewhere else to be.
I immediately close the box. If that is a zodiac stone, this is one of the biggest discoveries in the history of magic and religion. That they could actually be real? That's an impossibility, but that's what this likely is. I recognize that shape.
This
I
is-
look at Fallon and look at Salacia to see if anything that Feldspar is saying is registering at all for them.
I was just about to ask, Josh, would I know anything about this from my or my family's dealings with the church?
Yes and no. You wouldn't necessarily, unless you were shown scholarly articles or anything like that, know the specific stone by shape or anything like Feldspar would. But if you have lived in Ivalis and have at all encountered the teachings of Globados growing up, you would have heard of the 12 Zodiac Braves who wielded the Zodiac Stones to defeat the great evil. Like, that's just something everyone knows. It's modern day equivalent Jesus had 12 disciples. You don't have to be practicing to have picked that up somewhere along the way just as an offhanded fact. This is kind of the same thing.
More specifically, I guess, would I know enough kind of about either what something this powerful is capable of in the wrong hands, like absolute worst case scenario, what could be done with it?
Again, it's yes and no. The full nature of the Zodiac Stones is something, again, it's theoretical. These stones they predate modern Ivalis. There are hundreds of years old, thousands of years old. This is Oracite at its most primal and powerful. These stories that you've heard and that anyone would know from the church are they give you awesome and wonderful powers because they were used to defeat evil. But I mean, the question is, are they exclusively usable by those who are good-hearted? Because if not, awesome and wonderful can turn to awesome and terrible like that.
Can I do some kind of check to figure out if the stone is like, if there is any kind of moral alignment to the magic that is in this container?
Specifically in the container?
Yeah, like to figure out like whatever hands touched this last or removed it from the box. Is there anything left of them?
I won't make you do a check on that because you already did an aura roll to feel the energy. You rolled what, a 14 when you did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You, again, what you would have picked up on is that energy. There would be no remnants of like human hands inside of here. Like, that's just, there's no, what makes this stand out so much is that it has such a powerful imprint. Even though you know this device is hundreds of years old, even if it was removed right before you all got there, and they walked out of the room right before that, that is still a hell of an etheric footprint to leave. Like, it's got a comparable level of power to it, like a minor magical item actually physically sitting there would have. So no human fingerprints or no human traces are there, but I can tell you, you know enough about that power to know it is not in and of itself benevolent or malefic. Like, it is pure power for power's sake. There is no good, bad, evil, holy, or otherwise in terms of that actual physical power source.
We need to find where that stone went.
The stones were used for good, but it doesn't mean that they have to be.
No. Also, we don't know where they got this. Maybe they found it without a stone? But the source of powerful ancient machinery, we all know where it came from. It's that exact spot on that map. That's where we should start.
Does anybody else get the feeling that we're being used for something?
Absolutely. Feels like we're taking out someone's dirty laundry.
Yeah. I don't like this feeling, but I do have to respect the tech that they gave us to take the dirty laundry out with. So unless anybody has if anybody would like to come, they can, but I'm just gonna go find possibly a case for each of these things so we can carry them. They can stay particularly safe and as sensitive. If I put them in my bag, with all of the metal and powder that falls around my stuff, it might dull the senses of the actual
I'm not
calibration.
even sure that we should retain them. Yeah, definitely no, you're right, we should.
Leaving it to chance that someone after us could stumble into this hotel room and find them.
I don't mean leaving it behind, I just wish there was somewhere safer than with us.
This is where I will just do an interlude purely for information you should know in making a decision. Having closed it again, while it's closed, again, you do not feel that energy when it's go. Whatever's on the outside of this is keeping that masked. And that's not the type of thing you would feel. Like, it would be someone trying to feel the absence of energy kind of thing. It's not, it would be like feeling air. So it's not going to be giving off. One thing you will know is it's not going to be necessarily pinging off anyone nearby. Now, I understand the discussion is about the safety of the thing, but I just wanted you to know that in making a decision.
One final thing. I would like to memorize the feel of this magic and
Absolutely.
see if I can sense it at any given point.
That's fine. I'll let you do that. I won't even make you roll for it. This is, you have physically encountered a thing, so it's just, can you match it up in the future? I'm good with that.
Fallon,
Of course, yeah.
is it common that metal from where you're from could contain something this powerful?
Like I said, old tech, not really hard to find. Something like this, very functional, very capable of even holding magic. I specialize in old, but not this magic side of it. I'd assume that it's quite hard to get a hold of.
It's similar to the magic gun, I would assume, on a far more advanced level. The combination of magic and tech
Yes.
intertwines.
Yeah.
Two forces that often oppose each other, interwoven in a way that works.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're worried about anything, I think it might be helpful. Follow this, and if anything, we can destroy it and leave it in the pit. Along with, which would break my heart, honestly. I would like
I
to
don't
study.
know if...
But
I don't think that we need to destroy the containment unit. I don't even know if we could destroy the Zodiac Stone, but we do need to obtain it before these people do. Unless, of course, we're being used to fetch it.
I'm worried we might be.
That is a concern.
Well, I can't imagine other reasons that people would send us on a quest to find an empty box.
The other thing, if this one is real, there's a large chance that the other 11 are too.
11?
And who
11.
knows?
12 overall. One for each sign of the Zodiac.
And if they found one, who knows how many others they may have.
I don't
And
think
we-
I have enough exploding bullets for that many.
No. The other thing is that we don't... Religion often skews things. Myth skews things, legends, that of the sort, even if they have a grain of truth. We don't know what it does, but we can feel for a fact that it has this kind of power, regardless of whether it's a Zodiac Stone or just the equivalent to one. You know?
Right.
We have to get the gag.
So does that mean we're going to postpone our visit with Marigold then?
I think it would probably be best.
Well, if this is anything like the encounter with your siblings, I'm sure whatever time we show up, would be welcomed later rather than sooner.
It does give her more time to plan, but unless she has a stone herself, which I somehow... As of now, we don't know that she's involved technically. I kind of assume she is, but we don't know for sure. But we do know for sure that there's something in Galg.
Something in Galgal, right?
Well, we're certainly not going without Virgil, so I suppose we'll have to make him aware of this as soon as he returns.
Do we tell
Yeah.
Wiseman if he finds him?
I don't think so.
No. Which means we
I-
should put this away.
I very much get the feeling that, well, for one, he might know. Which, in either case, if he's had no problem with keeping track of us so far, then I'm sure he'll be somewhat aware of this at least. In any case, it'll be easy enough to figure out once he arrives.
Speaking
If we
of,
can find him.
we now move away from our party in the hotel, and we find wandering the streets of Garland aimlessly Virgil, who I think we all know didn't really have a plan, so much as just assumed that Come on, I'm a hero. We
Pretty
know how this
much.
all went.
Pretty much. He's the way though he's walking around the city looking for Wiseman. He's has his usual swagger that he's walking around with, but he's actually really focused and keeping a lookout for Wiseman as he's walking around the streets. And what I would like, that wouldn't help. But yeah, he's just keeping a very sharp lookout for Wiseman as he's walking through the streets.
So he's looking around at the actual, down the alleyways, what have you, and comes to a bit of an opening where a few different roads meet and converge and then go off. So there's not necessarily a full town square, but just, a little area where you've got some grass, you got a few trees, you got some benches, and there's a post in the middle of it with a street light. Garland is known again for its usage of magic in creative ways. So there's some street lamps here and there with small flickering flames inside, either through fossil fuels or bits of coal, things like that. And he's looking around at the ground. And I want you to do me a favor and give me an aura roll.
Oh boy, I'm terrible at aura. Oh, that's not too bad. 9 plus my aura is my aura is 5, so it's 14.
So as you're walking into this square, you're looking at the roads around, trying to see if you could spot anyone, and you go to take a step, and you feel it. The back of your neck, you feel there's a shift where you are. And while you're not specifically it's not like you're tracing the specific energy signature, but all your training tells you, look up. And as you do, you see the blue cloaked figure standing on top of one of the lampposts.
He looks up at the blue cloaked figure. Wiseman, I presume.
You are getting better, boy. He jumps down onto the ground directly in front of you.
Uh-oh.
All right. I get the whole wise man stick, but I don't know. I'm kind of irked. And he slides his foot back into a stance. I really don't like the idea that you got a hit off of me. And he just springs off of his back foot and swings a really powerful kick at Wiseman's head and then stops right before it reaches the side of their face.
He stares directly at you without moving for a moment, then reaches up and pulls off his mask and puts it away. And of course, as you have deduced since that first moment when he got his fist right near your face in a way few people have, this is Graf, your former mentor. The man who taught you how to use your body as a weapon.
He lowers his leg down and he pulls him into a hug.
Graf does give him a hug back and then steps back. I can't reveal everything yet, but I need you to trust me once more.
I get that, but just the whole mask thing, you know it's really not gonna fly with the others. Look, I already vouched for you once. They want to see you again.
Well, then I guess we need to meet.
But I'm guessing as Wiseman, right?
That depends. Because one thing I do know is I know you're all getting better. You're important to what we're doing, but are you ready? Virgil, give me a dexterity roll.
Oh, that is a 10. That's a max right there. So that is dexterity. 15.
You see, fast as you remember, Graf launches forward at you and goes to swing with a punch combo in your way. But this time, he doesn't catch you off guard. And in a flurry in the middle of this square, Virgil and Graf begin striking back and forth in an almost ballet of combat. Punches, kicks, blocks, guards, combinations, counters, the works. Going from one form into another, switching back and forth, dodging beautifully. Each of you going through forms that are very practiced. But you used to be, as an earlier trainee, you remember getting smacked all throughout it as he quickly got through your guard. And that's not happening this time. You're catching his blows as they come, dodging them, even getting in a few licks of your own where you never would. You can tell you aren't the same animal that he found before. Do me a favor, give me a muscle roll.
That is a 16.
And as you continue your flurry of blows back and forth, both of you stop, dodge sideways, jump back to two trees that are sitting parallel back with one foot on each and leap towards each other, throwing out a massive punch where your fists collide in the air, feeling the force between each of them, neither one yielding, almost being held aloft by the power of these blows, until finally you force through and send him flying back as you land down. And Graf actually slides back on the ground before standing up. You're almost ready.
Like Virgil's hand, he's like still in that punch, and is like his hand is trembling, and it's specifically his right hand. It's like it's not making a fist, it's just like a hand that wants to make a fist, and it's just standing there shaking, vibrating like a muscle is trying to do something. And he shoots his left hand over to that right hand, and he just grabs it tightly. And the hand slowly stops shaking completely.
Graf walks up to him, reaches out his left hand, and grabs Virgil's right arm, and looks him in the eyes and says, I know what this did to you, but it no longer holds you. You need to stop fearing. You need to stop holding back. There will come a point where, despite all my lessons, it isn't enough. And if you're not willing to face your fear, you won't be able to protect the ones you love.
At those words, like Virgil snatches his wrist from his hands, and he like shoves his hand like into his pocket. All right, look, whatever. We gotta go. The rest want to see you. Put your mask back on, and yeah. And he just
Virgil.
starts to walk.
And you see he reaches back into his cloak and pulls out. It looks almost like for a second it looks like a broken spear. It's only about yay long with a spear tip at the end. But he takes it and spins it in his hand and catches it again, and you see it collapse outward into a full-size spear.
Well, what am I
And
supposed
then
to do
he
with that?
spins it back and collapses it again. You can
What am I supposed to do with that?
in its collapsed state, he hands it forward and says, "When the time is right, you'll know."
Like when he puts it in his hand visibly starts shaking again. And he kind of closes his hand around it, puts it away. Yeah. Okay. Let's go meet the others though.
You see him reach into his pocket, take his mask, and put it back on. As you wish.
Don't tell the others.
You can't see it because he's got the mask on, but you get a glint of his eyes, and you can always feel like he's smiling under there. And he just says, "I tell only my own stories." And with that, he begins walking back towards the hotel.
I follow him.
And the two of you return to the hotel, go back upstairs, and open the door to the waiting party, who sees that Virgil somehow managed to bring Wiseman back. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and go to break. So, everybody, we will be back in 10 minutes at 10:10. Stretch your legs. You do a bio if you need to. Grab yourself a drink. Do what you got to do. We will be back shortly. That's the thing about muting yourself via a different audio point than here is I got myself set here, but I muted myself on the stream. So going over this real quick, hope y'all got to stretch, hope y'all enjoyed your break, got yourself drinks, got yourself fixated, and you're all good and all that. We're gonna do things a little different, as I was trying to say. Normally when we come back from break, we do 2 giveaways for a free 1-month code to Adventuring Kit. I am going to shift that to social media this week. So keep your eyes peeled at Anoriand, twitter.com/AnoriandGD, my Twitter account. At some point over the next day or two, I'm going to be doing 2 individual giveaways, or maybe 1 post or what have you, where I talk about Adventuring Kit, and you can get a free 1-month setup with them for their premium subscription. So we're going to push it over there instead of doing it tonight during the stream. So you better keep your eyes peeled. You could still win, just not right this second. So let's hop back into the fun faster is the good news of that. So our party sitting in this room, having just experienced what they can only presume to call a very unusual and kind of potent experience, sees the door swing open, and Virgil's there, and next to him, he actually somehow did it, is the cloaked figure of Wiseman.
Sup, nerds? Got Wiseman, and he pats Wiseman on the back and eases them into the room.
You see his head tilt ever so slightly, and then look back. Like you
Somehow didn't.
all of you get the feeling like that was a look of, don't test your luck.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel that.
I somehow didn't think that you would succeed in finding him.
Come on, have more faith in me. I mean, look,
If anyone were going to succeed at finding him, who else would it have been?
Then the person who knows him for unknown reasons that he won't elaborate to us.
all I can say is, I got a nose for these things. All right. Well, if you've got some questions to ask him, he is at your disposal. And Virgil will lean back against the wall.
Fallon has moved the things in the time that we had of Virgil leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have our conversation, but I don't know if I had time to go get the casing that I wanted. But I think
I'll say you did. He was out.
Okay.
The anime fights take a while.
Yeah, absolutely. While also only taking 5 seconds.
Right. Right. It's that perfect threaded line.
Yeah, in the 5 seconds that it took for Virgil to fight this person, yeah, Fallon runs and grabs like whatever cases she can find that she thinks matches the dimensions of these items. I think she just she just finished packing it up, and it's that moment where she like uses her boot to like slide it out of the way.
Right. Slip it underneath the bed. Right.
Yep.
Wiseman, why did you want us to go into that house?
I'm sure you found some information, maybe some other things.
Cut the bullshit. And you see Feldspar shivers a little because it's the second time she's sworn in the last 20 minutes.
You see Virgil brace himself against the wall like someone just dealt him a heavy, like, whoa.
Feldspar looks a little bit like that too. We're going to need more information, and you're going to be more forthcoming. There's no more taking things on faith.
I am obviously informed. I'm also obviously not exactly a slouch. But there are things I cannot do alone. Your foe is the dark. Where there is the dark at some point, there must be the light.
All right. I do not need to speak to the walking equivalent of a jigsaw puzzle.
I mean that
Do you think this is a
literally.
joke?
If there is the dark, it stands to reason. There is also the light, which works in opposition to it.
Yes, which you're implying is us. Correct?
No.
Am
No.
I following you?
I believe he's implying himself and other compatriots he might have.
Just a simple hand to the side and nod gesture.
Huh.
You didn't answer Feldspar's question, though.
Not even a little.
Why did you send us to that house? We had a very, very bad time there, so any
Some of us
illumination.
more than others.
Because my group is not exactly all centralized right now, and if I walked in there, I might have had a far worse time than you did.
So you sent us into a death trap? No.
No! I sent you into a situation I firmly believed you would find success where I alone may find failure.
At what cost?
And for what purpose?
Why is your life more valuable than ours?
It isn't.
That's not what your behavior suggests.
No, but I'm simply telling you. Because
That's helpful.
Well, an important thing to know is this. One thing I can tell you is if it comes to a point where my life can be traded to ensure all 5 of yours, understand there will be no hesitation, and none of you will be able to stop me.
Feldspar lets out a blast of electricity towards a door, slamming it shut. No. Not anymore. Do you hear me? We need information. We need to know why you sent us there. You're dancing around the subject, not telling us anything of value.
I am not dancing around anything. I'm telling you the things that are true. Now,
No, you're not answering the bloody question.
did you find the proof that they wish to use a stone?
There we go. Was that so fucking hard?
Good job,
Salacia-
Feldspar.
Salacia will move to go stand beside Feldspar, just as kind of.
Like Virgil walks over to Felspar, like, whoa, just like
I have taken up a spot leaning against an opposite wall, and all you hear is like just a soft chuckle from the background because it's interesting.
I am done being vexed by you and people in other masks. We need to know everything that you know so that we can do something about it. And if you're not going to tell us anything, we cannot be allies of any kind. We're not pawns or puppets. And I refuse to be used further as such. If you want our aid in something, tell us. Or she pushes both of her hands to the side, and both ice and fire will curl around her fucking hands. And from that, the image of both Shiva and Ifrit, not fully summoned, but their apparitions will appear beside her. Have I made myself clear?
Wiseman
Crystal to me.
Wiseman takes a few steps forward, clearly just walking straight in front until he is standing not 6 inches in front of Feldspar, looking down at her. And
Spell's
he-
very short.
Yes. But as he gets there, he leans over until his mask is at the same height as her face. And he reaches up and pulls off the mask. I am a human. I will tell you what I know. I have no problem doing that.
You have a
But
funny
you
way of
need-
showing that.
Well, you need to let me finish speaking. And he puts his mask back on and stands up and walks back to where he was standing and then turns around and says, "We had intel that said they had several magic devices there and were working on potentially trying to find new and creative ways to gain power. The only thing we found truly solid of the intel was that there was a containment unit. We've had records of these in the past and understood this particular containment unit was likely meant for a stone. Now, I count among your number not just several capable people, but also someone who would be innately gifted at figuring out these particular machines. And so, I sent you into a situation where, based on everything I had known, you would all walk out alive. What I can tell you is this: you are all stronger than you believe. I might not have won that fight were it to happen. But again, you are not pawns to be sacrificed. The goal here is not to see anyone harmed but the dark.
Then what is your goal?
It is to put an end to this darkness that seeks to take hold of our land. Because if you can put things together, you will likely have figured out they're trying to get their hands on a stone.
Well, Wiseman, can I ask you a very honest question about the situation you sent us into?
Sure.
How much do you understand about the situation that you're in?
I understand that you have people practicing deep and forgotten necromancy, the magic of death itself, who are studying about imbuing objects with magic of their belief and choice, who are looking at a stone of pure, unadulterated power. I can connect from A, B, and C. Can you?
Well, if I had to give you a couple of letters extra, at some point we were lured into a swamp, probably with the hope that we would die or otherwise. And when that failed, we were given a coin and somehow led to an intersection with a completely different set of people who somehow had devices within their basement that interacted with an item we acquired earlier.
The thing about evil, truly heinous evil, is that it is proud. It has hubris. For you see, the dark, it views souls, lives, as fuel. Yes, he gave you that coin. It was an invitation. He wishes to see your power because he feels he could kill you all at a moment's notice, and in so doing, use you for his purposes. I continued to help you and work with you because I know you would not lose to him.
It's too good of a coincidence. There's much you're not telling us.
I believe, given the situation at hand, you can understand why Feldspar, among others, would be a little bit less than trusting at this moment. while we are used to our particular positions of being asked to go to this place and that, doing various things in wars that quite honestly should be none of our concern.
We are being used currently by your group, by this dark group, when we're already soldiers of another group. Not sharing information with us is the exact same thing they're doing, and we have no evidence to believe that you don't want the stone for yourself. We also don't know why, if my siblings were aligned with this necromancer we met before, why he would send us after them as a test of strength.
You had no way of knowing how that fight was going to end. Intuition, instinct, maybe. But you had no idea how it was actually going to go, and you had no idea what it was going to cost us to win. You had no right.
And if the world is safe, my penance is to be doled out to you, then so be it. But understand, my loyalty is to Ivalice.
Clearly.
Not to a kingdom, not to myself. It is to the lay people, the people of this land who do not control the wars, the people in this land who do not run the kingdoms, the people in this land who do nothing but try to live every day.
People like the ones in this room?
That you threw into a situation you knew more about than we did and told us nothing?
I will simply ask you this. If I told you, here is a dangerous situation, it could be a problem to walk into. But if you don't walk into it, someone could take one of the strongest magical items ever conceived and turn it into a pure vessel of unholy, unadulterated death, and use it to wreak havoc on the land. And you could perhaps stop it. And that was all you had. Would your actions have changed?
Salacia stomps up to him and gets right up in his face, and her pupils have drawn completely to slits. And nothing, she doesn't shift, but a black energy, like rolling smoke, starts to radiate off of her.
There's we had the conversation, but while you have not like fully debilitated what's inside you, this is still the same night. You've got some control over this thing. So yeah, you can absolutely be like glowing with malefic aura at this point.
Yes, I would have gone on that. Because that I can understand. That we can understand. We would have known what we were going into. We could have planned. We could have protected ourselves. Maybe it wouldn't have cost quite so much. But you made a decision you had no right to make. You took our agency from us and threw us into a frying pan. And I'm not doing anything with you until you fully admit that. I don't care if you apologize. I don't care where your loyalties lie. I want you to admit, regardless of your greater good, what you did was wrong and you used us as cannon fodder.
I have no problem admitting it. Because if it saves lives, it's
It
worth
could have
it.
saved lives if you just told us in the first place. The only difference between this situation, what happened before, and what could have happened, is that we would have been informed about what we were going into.
You would have been
had a better
informed.
result than what we had.
You would have
Do you
been
understand
informed.
that?
You would have been informed about what I thought could have happened, not about what would have happened. Instead,
Did
you
you
had to
know that there was
prepare
potential
for
for a
every
stone there?
eventuality.
You can't go into a situation without informing them of what we're supposed to do planning for.
Well,
That's
you
foolish.
haven't-
It's basic tactics. You give the information that you believe to be true, and then you respond accordingly. And if the plan has to change, then it does in time. But going in there with no information at all, when there is some, is the part that's...
Listen.
And how am I to know when one among you carries a demon, how you are to react in a situation?
I think
And so I simply
Salacia
had
leaves.
to be sure. Leaves the whole room?
Salacia leaves. She's out.
Okay.
Wiseman,
I walk. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Wiseman, you cannot have us as allies if you continue to keep us in the dark. You cannot have us as allies, people who believe that you're doing the right thing, if you continue to lie about what you know. There is no partnership, and I am not finished. You could have told us what you suspected was there and why. And that would have been more than what we got. You told us nothing. You kept your secrets. You did exactly what anyone would do when you're setting someone up to fail.
I think Fallon will walk over in an effort to go after Salacia. She will grab her large wrench and be dragging it on the floor so he sees just how much weight is behind it as she walks past him.
Absolutely.
And say, listen, light, dark, kingdoms, people. I think at the end of the day, you have to admit that your intentions and your needs and wants got in the way of our safety. And you don't know what any of us saw and what any of us went through in order to get some bit of information that you now have. So, regardless of how we were supposed to react or any fears you might have had about us as people, us as a team, what I will say is that in the end, we always have each other's backs, and we will never let ourselves walk into a situation the way you did. So if we don't trust you ever again, it's because your standards don't meet that. And I will just drag the wrench, swing it up. I'm actually going to swing it up onto my shoulder so it's just at his head, and then walk past and go and find Salacia.
After everyone leaves, Virgil
I don't leave.
Oh, Felspar's still there? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Get into it.
Virgil places hands on the wall, and he pushes off of it, and he looks at Wiseman, and he says, I told you. Gonna have to be more open with them. I can't vouch for you forever. And he'll pat Feldspar on the shoulder, like a reassuring shoulder pat, gives it a soft squeeze, and heads out of the room.
The only reason that we have entertained you is because of the man that just walked out. And that has its limits, and you far exceeded it.
Wiseman takes off his mask again and simply says, you all no longer need to trust me. If you've gotten any information further, I can assure you, you now know not just what I've told you, which is all we've known, but probably now more than I, about what to do next.
Patently untrue, because your organization has existed for how long? We don't know. What do you do?
No.
We don't know. Where do you come from? Who sent you? We don't know. We don't know anything about where you got your information or why or how, and all of that is important.
I will give
Wiseman.
you all of that. What I am saying is, as far as trusting me towards your next steps, I can no longer guide you. And I won't ask for the information you received, because I did not go get it, and thus it is not my reward with which to live.
So you don't know anything about the stones, or what they could have actually been used for, or anything like that, yet you sent someone after...
Oh no, I can give you that.
Did you give a missive? Yes, that would be helpful. That would have been pertinent information. See, you're not forthcoming at all. And you're pretending that you are.
What I can give you is what we believe, but As far as the stones, I believe you know as well as I. We've all heard the stories. They're capable of warping the fabric of reality, of empowering one man to fight like an army of tens, hundreds, thousands, of creating wondrous miracles.
Yes, and
And
what
what
led you
they
to believe
wish
that
to
this was
do.
actually legitimate? The mythical. Presumably to everyone. But you and your group saw that there was a reason when you found out that there was potential for it to be here to send someone there. What made that happen? What made this more believable than anything else?
We know
How
that
did
they
you know
are
that this group
searching.
is aligned with the Dark? Is the whole family? These are all things that presumably you might know.
As far as I'm aware, it was those two. The children. They are the ones who aligned with this group. And they were trusted with devices. They would not be trusted with an actual stone. But we know that they were trusted with, at nothing else, a containment unit. And our belief was they were being used as actual pawns to try and find what it is they sought. And then, when they returned with their quarry, who knows how that ends?
And how did you obtain this information in the first place? Do you know who they've specifically allied with? Do you know what they're called? Do you know who they are? Do you know any of that information?
We know there's a man named Anatolos. We assume that it's him. We don't have eyes everywhere inside the Dark's organization, but we do have people following them.
And where are they currently? Do you know?
Anatolos has been with the wind ever since he left Poescus. We're trying to nail down a precise location, but he has not popped up anywhere that any of our spies have seen.
And do you know anyone else in the organization?
You see, he's trying to balance this, but you get the vibe. His face doesn't say, I don't want to be honest. His face says more like, how am I going to put this? If
Talk quickly.
our beliefs are true, we feel there may be a connection with the Marquis de Limberry.
Really? Really?
We're not quite sure. There have been questionable sightings, but nothing concrete. We have eyes on him, and we wonder if he knows. If he does know, he could do well enough to fool us. But we're hoping if we keep eyes on him long enough, that he will slip. It is a strong enough belief that we're willing to search it, but it is not a strong enough belief that we're willing to yet act on it and condemn an innocent man.
Where's your organization based?
We don't have a singular home base. We meet up at different points throughout Ivilis, mostly areas where we can simply congregate in simple rooms like this. If you leave a base, you leave evidence.
Wiseman, if you ever so much as utter one untruth or fail to tell something that could save lives, know this: anyone that dies will be because of you. And second, there will not be a bit of ash big enough to bury. have I made myself completely, and she'll push his chest, fucking clear?
Wiseman reaches into his pocket and pulls out. It's a jewel. Not anything like that. Not anything super massive, but a jewel at the end of a net. What, like a length of chain? You recognize it, but like a jewel necklace, and it's got a purple stone in the center of it. And he holds out his hand like this. She won't take this from me anymore, I would presume. But this might help her.
Help who?
The
Salisha?
one who I presume never wants to hear from me again.
That's your own damn fault. I'll snatch it from him.
It is.
So you knew?
Yes. And that kind of darkness can go either way. You can judge me for making a choice of a test. And I have to live with that choice that I made. And if none of you trust me ever again, then so be it. But I needed to be sure before I put all my faith into you five.
How long have you been watching all of us?
A few months now.
Since we were unscripted.
Essentially. We needed a group that seemed to be in Limberry, potentially close to the Marquis if something needed to happen, and a group that we felt had the moral character and had the power to do something. There was always one wild card. She walked out of there and proved today I was wrong.
She had nothing to prove to you. Sleep with one eye open. Just so you know. And should I see you again, you better be more forthcoming with answers. Because if not, notice how I didn't leave the room?
Pile of ash.
Yes. If I'm feeling like it'd be quick and unmerciful, and she'll storm out of the room. And slam the door. And then as soon as she's out, she's gonna like start crying. Just like...
Zeros, I want to ask, were you still in the room for all that, or did you leave with everyone else? Because you never actually spoke, so I want to give you the opportunity.
Well, like, this is the part where like, what I typed in chat was that I left, but, like,
I'm going to let you decide there. I'm pretty sure Feldspar was not going to hold back any differently, whether or not you were present.
and I certainly was not going to interrupt, so
Yep.
Here we go. Odd beans, I'm still in this room. Bitch, okay, so that's a whole 9.
There you go.
Nice.
So, of course, there's also obviously one other wild card to consider. But I don't think that that's my place to speak.
A wild card, you say?
I'm not going to say that your adventures will put you in contention with the church. But when you're dealing with divine objects, they may. The church is not a great fan of heretics.
Well, what's one more adventure to have?
Again, I will not spoil your secret. She said if I lie, it's not a lie for me not to tell your truth. simply not being pressed. But you saw how they all treated me.
How they treated you.
I deserved every bit of it. Understand that. I do not feel any need to absolve myself of my actions. I acted for what I thought was the greater good. It is what it is.
Well,
But
I will not
They-
have you waste any further words, but I will ask you a question. You said you had how many others?
around Ivalis,
Mm-hmm.
24, thereabouts.
Are they as informed as you are?
Some. Specific details like that, however, I'll tell you this. No one cares. So there's a difference between darkness inside you and just believing differently than others.
When you're at sword point, it hardly matters. Here's what I'm going to ask you. If these people of yours are people of information and resources, do you have to be a part of this order to have them?
Either a part of the Order or someone who we wish to protect in some way.
And which category of that do we fall into?
I don't believe at this point any of you even want to be in the Order. But whether or not you will all want to be protected, you have chosen your next steps, and they align with ours. As far as I and anyone else in this squad is concerned, you all come first. I meant what I said. Should there be a chance to give my life to save any of yours, there will be no hesitation, and you would not be able to stop me.
I won't attempt to, but I will say to you two things. Seeing as it might give us additional means to deal with the problems that we're dealing with, and I feel like it would be the least you could do. I have a demand and a proposal. Are you willing to hear them?
Of course.
Demand first is simple. You will go to Salacia, and you will apologize. Regardless of the outcome.
It's irrelevant. I have no problem
And upon-
apologizing.
Upon doing so, however, if for nothing else, for the sake of resources and information, I will consider joining the Order. I'm going to walk out of this room and find Salacia, and I will wait for your answer there. I would suggest not being long either way. And then I leave.
Fair enough.
Zeldspar's just crying in the hallway.
Feldspar, are you okay?
I'll let y'all come together on how you congregate before I take any next steps.
It's like a lot to yell at someone and be so angry, and it's been a very long night, and everything is just, there's so many things, and he was just being total.
Felspar gets hit in the face by a hanky, like a hanky just
I
slaps
just-
him right in the face.
I just gently put the sword down.
Virgil, you could have just handed it to me.
Nah, yeah, but that's not me. Look, you did the right thing. You're 100% right in everything you said.
just... So frustrating.
Trust me, I get it. And he hesitates for a second, and he says under his breath, but loud enough that they could hear, I had to deal with 2 years of that asshole.
Are you going to tell us anything now, too?
Look, the reason why I vouched for him is that he's the guy who trained me. Like, he taught me everything I know. So, yes.
So you're part of this order, too?
No, I'm not part of this order. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about with this order. I knew he's probably figured it was some, I don't know, old man club he went to on the weekends that he did whatever, I don't know. The point is this. If I knew that he was gonna be all cagey about whatever he said, I wouldn't even brought him back. Just, you're 100% right, everything though you said. He was being an ass.
Where's Tanisha?
I believe she's gone downstairs and probably out into the town.
We should go find her.
Yeah.
We should.
And Fallon. I assume that they're after...
Where does the group find those two?
I'm gonna help Feldspar up.
No, I'm saying, I'm asking DK and Fallon where the group finds those two.
Salacia has moved with a celerity that is somewhat surprising. She's not running. She is walking with purpose. And she can hear Fallon's footsteps behind her and slows her pace just a little bit to allow Fallon to keep up, but doesn't say anything and just keeps walking.
Salacia, I'm calling out over and over and over until you let me catch up. That was a lot.
It is always a lot to have the thing you hate most about yourself used against you, which is why I didn't tell anyone.
I'm sorry for what it's worth. I just don't think anyone deserves to have anything like that used against them. And that just shows... I hope that you know that we care about you. We would never think less of you. Not even that. It's badass. And I just... How are you feeling?
I don't feel anything about it. I can't afford to. I don't have enough control right now to guarantee that something won't happen, so...
I want to give you the space to breathe and figure this out. I'm not going to push. I'm not one to push. But just know when you can afford to, we're all here. And it might be of everyone in the world that might understand what you're going through. We might be able to understand the most just because we care about you.
Fallon, he wasn't wrong.
About what?
About me. I don't know if I can control it, or for how long, or what will happen the day that I don't. He's right, I am a danger to you. I would never hurt you intentionally, but I can't promise that I won't hurt you.
Well, that's silly. And I think the reason that's silly is because I know you. and the day that you lose control, I think you'll remember your friends. And I think you'll remember us coming together as a team. I think you'll remember the moments before we defeated our first enemy together, and the moments of this moment, hopefully. Knowing that if you go somewhere you're alone, you don't feel like yourself, the footsteps will always be right behind you. And I think it's got to count for something.
It counts for a whole lot, and I think when I think back to today, years from now, or however long we end up having with the path of destruction that we're on, I won't even remember him. I'll remember Virgil and Zeros and Feldspar saving my life, saving me from me. And I will remember the sound of your footsteps behind me. And who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe that'll be enough.
And as you say, maybe that'll be enough, you see the three others cresting over the hill behind you, approaching.
I just say, as I hear them, I say, there go the footsteps.
Right on cue. Feldspar, are you alright?
I'm just not used to yelling at someone. It's been a long night.
Takes a lot out of you.
I don't normally get so heated, and I also don't usually use such vulgar language, especially not so many times in a row.
You
I
won't
think you
tell
should
anybody.
try more. I think you should practice a little bit.
I think so too,
That,
Fells.
that would not be appropriate.
Sin,
If
you're
you-
muted.
If you keep trying, then it will, the muscles will get worked out. You won't feel as
But
uncomfortable
I
anymore.
shouldn't be
I feel
saying them in the
honest.
first place. Why should I?
No, you totally should be
Because
saying
it's
that.
fun.
I feel
Yeah.
that it took more energy out of her than using the powerful magic she was using earlier.
I'm
That's
used
not a
to
good sign.
magic.
I mean, just say
Although,
it.
I
Just say
suppose
it.
for fairness, it is its own form of magic.
Precisely.
If it makes you feel better, I can put you in a bubble that no one can hear you say them.
No, it's not proper.
You're
to
telling
say
me
it.
that you didn't feel any sort of levity when you said it. No, there was no tiny little, that's what you deserved. I
Little bit
finally
is-
did it. Weight off your shoulders. You could just cut to the chase of what you're trying to say with the most direct word.
Come on, Felds.
Okay,
Is there ever a day you just want to go ape shit?
A little excitement, a little spark of I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
maybe a little.
And
A
that's
little.
that's it. We lean into that. It's okay if it's momentary and you do it every once in a while, but I just think Don doesn't exactly hit as well, if that makes sense.
He was just.
And at the statement, he was just cresting over the hill, you see the cloaked figure of Wiseman walking up to the group.
I throw a dart, just kidding. Sorry.
He walks up, standard, just normal pace, knowing that he has 5 sets of very unhappy eyes on him. Stops directly in front of Salacia. Pulls off his mask and says, "This isn't for me. This is for you. I made a choice. I was wrong. I should have trusted in the things I had seen. And I should have remembered the very thing I said. That as long as you walk towards the light, the darkness cannot take you. I'm sorry."
Wiseman. I don't need your fucking apology, but I would like you to know what you took from me. You took decades of control. You took years of not playing with other kids. You took living in isolation. You took growing up without ever speaking to a man before I joined the military. You took everything that I sacrificed, everything that I have given up to fuel your agenda. So I don't need your apology. I appreciate whichever one of my friends I assume made you come back to me with your tail tucked between your legs, but I don't need anything from you.
No.
You're the one who needed us.
I planned on giving this to you either way, because you deserve it. I don't need absolution. Again, I have to live with my choice. But you still
And so do
deserved
I.
to hear that. And I'm guessing you don't ever want a single other thing from me. But Feldspar has a gift for you. Conveniently,
This necklace thing.
What is it?
it can help you control what's inside you.
No, tell me plainly.
It
What
is
is
that simple. If you wear the necklace, it can help you control what's inside you. It
How?
makes it easier to have control over it. When it fights against you, it will be withheld based on the power inside that stone more so than usual. The only thing more I could say than that is breaking down basic elements of magic. I promise you, I am not giving you any sort of lie or roundabout statement. This isn't a philosophical focusing on the stone thing. It has actual magic that is built against malefic auras. No more, no less. Now, whether you choose to take it, whether you choose to trust me, whether you choose to wear it, that is all on you. But I promise, I'm telling you the truth.
Salacia reaches out and takes the necklace from Feldspar gently and looks at it for a minute and admires the color of the stone, the deep purple. It really is
I know where this is
a
going.
beautiful piece of jewelry. And then she's going to throw it up in the air and use her fire breath on it.
Okay.
I trust myself and the demon more than I trust you. You can keep your gifts.
Okay.
If we
Oh.
ever see you again, Wiseman, change your tune.
I will tell all of you what I just told Feldspar in the room.
No, I will tell them. You're dismissed, if that wasn't clear.
So be it. And you see, he puts his mask back on and he just walks off into the night.
I don't like him.
I
Feldspar,
don't
you could
either.
have told him to fuck off.
It was really, that's when you say, that was the time when you say, fuck
That was
off.
But
perfect.
your dismiss was very
Perfect.
good.
I mean,
It was
yeah.
also very good. I'll
That
give
was
you
good. That was great. But you know what you should have said? He yells back, like, you're fucking dismissed! Like that.
I just don't think I have it in me.
We'll work up to it.
You know,
Yeah, we'll get that.
Can we go to bed now? I'm exhausted.
Please.
We need to, yes.
And as the group,
I think I'll stay awake for a little while longer. Maybe have myself a short walk before bed.
Whatever you like.
don't get lost or anything.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Well, if you hear screaming and explosions, you'll know where to find me.
Yes.
Oh God, at least wait until tomorrow morning, please.
Dawn, at least.
Preferably later.
You have my word. Not earlier than dawn will I bother you.
So now's probably not a good time to talk about taking apart my shrapnel bullets, right? Should wait
I
till
will set you on fire, Fallon.
dawn. Okay, it's dawn.
and on that note, as our team goes for a very well-deserved day of rest, we will close tonight's episode of A Tale of Two Lions. An episode built on finding one's self-esteem. Good, positive, believe in yourself, kids, and don't let no motherfucker try and tell you what you got going on. Also, just swear
I
at
hate
people.
Weissman more than Gafgarian right now.
Just,
It was so apparent.
just fucking swear at people.
Loved it.
Okay? Do that. Like, if someone messes with you, just say fuck off. That's the other
Just say
moral of
fuck
today's
off.
episode.
It's true.
All right. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, folks. Closing out, before I get to these wonderful, lovely people and where you can find them and all that good stuff, let me give one more shout out to our two sponsors. Number one, our sponsor in terms of the system we use to play, that is the Valor RP system. If you hit !Valor in chat, you will come up to the Twitter account of Valor's Games, you'll come up to the website of Valor's Games, and you will come up with the Kickstarter for the Valor Heroic Roleplay System reprint of their main book. You can get it in hardcover, you can get it in PDF, you can get it in all the good things. Please support that Kickstarter. Please help this company. They're wonderful. They are excellent. We love the system. We're having a great time using it. And it's really fun once you get into it, being able to call for this role, combine it with this role, do this thing without it being too super clunky. And it's just nice. And our other sponsor is, as mentioned, Adventuring Kit. ! Adventure in chat. Adventuring Kit is a free-form, system-agnostic virtual tabletop. It's got a lot of wonderful features. It's got a sound bank. It's got quick, easy map access. It's got quick, easy note access. It's got the ability to set everything apart in folders. You can easily choose who to share and who not to share with in a campaign. You can have everything lightning fast, quick and easy while rolling on screen, while rolling in quickly separated areas. It's very smooth, very efficient. And if you have an idea of something you think could improve the site, go join their Discord, clickable off their site. And hey, I'll tell you right now, they got a super receptive dev who takes that in and is like, oh yeah, no, I'll figure out how to do that. And boom, before you know it, it's actually in there as part of the features. If you like what you're seeing and you decide you want the premium membership, you can hit code GameDad in all caps as a promo code when you're checking out to get 25% off on a monthly subscription. And also keep a lookout for my Twitter profile this week. I'm going to be talking about Adventuring Kit on there, and I will randomly be doing 2 giveaways for codes for 1 free month of Adventuring Kit, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And now, since I've been talking so damn much, Wally, bring us home, my friend.
Yeah, sup, y'all? It's me, Wally. You can find me on Twitter at WALLE132, like the cute little Disney robot, where I'm talking about all the things and the things that I do and the stuff that I'm in. The one thing that I am in this week, I'm going to let Lexi talk about when we get to them, but I'm going to pass it over on to DK, who just had this amazing episode today. DK, take it away and talk about yourself.
Hi, what's up? That's me. I'm DK, and I have been Salation. I have been a problem. You can find me at
solution.
No. I had to take that, and let me tell you, you were not the problem tonight.
The solution. Salacia, the solution.
Solution Farcyrus. You can find me at Abadarlings on Twitter. I am sharing my every thought with the entire world, whether you want to hear it or not. So if you're into that, that's cool. If not, you can see me in so many things next week. On Monday, I'm going to be here. And then immediately after here, I'm going to be on Exquisite Corpse Presents for Season 2 of Divine Intervention. Tuesday, Blackness and Dragons comes back on Q Times. Thursday, A Night to Remember Oregon Trail premieres on Exquisite Corpse Presents. Friday, I'm in Farewell Yellow House, ongoing critical RPG. And then Saturday, back on Exquisite Corpse Presents, you can catch Sister Cities. I can't believe I got all of that out in one mouthful. Thanks for having me.
I just want everyone to know before we move on, I'm going to get Solution Farcyrus tattooed right here.
Yes.
Like, that just
gonna
needs
get
to
it
be
right
a
there.
thing. Okay. Now continue. Who is next?
I think it's around to me. Yeah, my name's Lexi, otherwise known as the Black Girl Mage. You can find me on Twitter at Black Girl Mage, also on Twitch, where I used to stream a lot of D&D prep, but now I'm just mainly streaming my actual play. It happens 2 days after this one, which is a fun thing. But it's called Strixu. I blanked out there. Yeah, so Strixu is happening on Wednesdays from 8 to around like 10-ish every other Wednesday, and then the following Wednesdays after episodes air, we're having talkbacks. So if you watch the episodes and catch the VODs, then you can actually see the players answer questions about themselves and they are probably some of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. It is remarkable to even know them and hear them talk. So definitely check that out whenever you can. Like I said, twitch.tv/blackgirlmage.
And I think that brings it to me. Hi, I'm Persephone, aka Persephoroth. That's Per as in Persephone and Sephiroth, like the Final Fantasy VII villain. You can catch me streaming here on Twitch at Persephoroth every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. You catch me on here every Monday, and on Tuesdays I am on Shakar on that Bronze Girls channel. Oh, also check out the podcast October's Children that I'm executive producing on.
Oh snap! Hello.
Just sneak that in there.
She contains
horror
multitudes,
podcast.
folks.
Just in time for October. Also, hi. I'm Sinziak. I have been Zeros. I have been chuckling in the background and did a successful job at not having to answer very particular questions. You can find me streaming on Tuesday evenings. You can find me playing Ampersano with D&D Jordan Lee on Saturdays. And of course, here with these lovely people melanin and popping everywhere on Mondays.
I was gonna say we do have like a void of white space right there. They always call for attention somehow.
The fucker. And on that note, hi, I'm Anoriand. You can call me Josh. I'm the storyteller for this evening. You're already here, so you know to find me here. You probably know to find me on twitter.com/AnoriandGD. I'm funny sometimes, or really controversial recently. Vis-a-vis
Passionate
movie.
about talking about blue people.
Yeah, gosh. Who knew Smurfs were such a big deal? Anyways, yeah, I'm going to continue throwing shade because I muted it. I don't care. Who's going to yell at me? Anyways, folks, I'll be back Thursday because I've been streaming all weekend. I definitely need to take a break tomorrow. Most likely. That's going to depend on if I have power because I live in Florida and I'm like in direct path of the hurricane that's rolling through. I anticipate I'll be fine based on everything I'll see, but just constant storms in an area. Losing power is likely going to happen at some point. So if I'm not available Thursday, then I'll use my phone, let y'all know. But most likely I'll be back Thursday. I may have something new cooked up. We'll see. Depends on the response I get from someone about a thing. I'll keep y'all posted. And other than that, who's live right now? Let's bring the love somewhere.
Bree is live.
Oh, Bree's live.
Bree's live? Okay, that'll be fun. We're gonna hit /raid burrito _ All right, let's go ahead and throw the love over there. Again, Kev, it's not gonna be anything by the time it gets here other than like a lot of rain and stuff. I'll be fine.
I hope so.
Yeah, I promise you. I'm not just being like, oh, I'm so tough. I've lived through enough. I'm not worried. I might lose power. I've got bottled water. I've got food. I've got cooking stuff. I'm good.
He said he's not new to this. He's true.
We've come prepared here. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with us. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We thank y'all. And until next week, folks, we'll catch you later. Raid now.